The film begins in 1971 with a group of friends who give an account of their recent trouble with a doll named Annabelle, which had been terrorizing them for quite some time. Initially, they had noticed that the doll would appear in a different position from where they left it, which led them to contact a medium who notified them that a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle had once actually died in their very apartment. Taking an immediate liking to the spirit, the friends allowed what they thought was the spirit of the child permission to inhabit the doll, so that she could be with them more often. The group of friends would continually be tormented by the Annabelle doll, which would trash their apartment and write if they missed her on the walls in red crayon. The Warrens informed them that they were willing to help before explaining that they weren't being terrorized by the ghost of a child, but instead were dealing with a demonic spirit that had not yet walked the earth, whose primary goal was to possess one of the 2 girls who had given it permission to enter their life. Hi, I am Black Moon here. Please like and subscribe to help the channel out. Roger Perrin and Carolyn Perrin moved to a new farm, Harrisville, Rhode Island, with their 5 daughters. They are happy with their garden, but do not allow dogs in the house. Roger tries to let him in, but he is afraid of something and does not want to enter. And there was a big tree by the lake, from which April's little daughter took a toy from which the other girls sought refuge, and by chance a piece of wood was pulled from the basement, and her father went there. While doing this, he found a drum, dived under it, and found a very old piano and some household items. They come and tell everyone that no one goes there because there are a lot of spiders. At night, when I was getting ready for bed, I saw a dog barking loudly, but I thought there were wild animals nearby, so I slept without worrying. The next morning, her mother opened her eyes and noticed a black spot on her legs that she had never seen before. And when she looks at the clock, all the clocks in the house stop at 3:07. He finds it strange. And this is his youngest daughter, April. When she wants to get her dog, she screams loudly. And hearing his voice, his parents also came there. You see that your dog is dead. Someone killed him. She tells her father that Cindy is in her room, butting heads with cupboard while she sleeps. And I've never seen that. And when Roger walks into the room and sees it, Cindy is actually butting heads with cupboard in her sleep. Roger gets surprised to see this, because she walks in her sleep, but she has never done this before. After this, Roger takes her away from there. In the morning, Caroline notices that her marks on her body have increased more than before. And when Roger is going out of the house for work, he sees that a pigeon collided with his house and fell down and died in agony. He doesn't understand why this is happening here. When his 4 daughters go to school, then only April and Caroline are at home. April insists her mom to play hide and seek. And when April goes to a room and hides and Caroline reaches a room searching for her, then the cupboard's door opens behind her. She hears a voice and thinks that April is here. She says, "April, clap your hands." And then 2 hands come out of the cupboard and clap twice. And then she starts walking towards the cupboard, and when she reaches near the cupboard, she feels someone's breath, but when she looks at it with her hands, there is nothing there. She takes off her blindfold in shocked. Nancy did not pay much attention to it. After some time at night, someone grabs Kristen's leg, with which he sits in fear. And he looks at Nancy, who is sleeping. And he calls Nancy softly. Nancy hears his voice and wakes up. She asks him, "Are you fine?" Kristen tells Nancy that someone is behind the door. "Do you see anything?" Nancy says, "I don't see anything." And when Nancy goes to the door to check, he tells Kristen that there is nothing here. But yes, it smells bad. Christine tells Nancy she has your back. And Nancy is afraid of it. And before she can turn and look back, the automatic door closes. When they heard her voice, her parents and other girls also left the house. Christine tells her father that someone is in the room. "I saw someone at the door." And when Roger looks at the door, no one is there. Roger says, "You must be having a nightmare." He thinks it's a medical problem. And then she hears 2 claps. She thinks her children are still awake. And when she goes to the room, everyone is sleeping there. And then she hears something fall. And as he approaches that sound, pictures of his daughters are lying on the stairs. She doesn't know who did it. And then she hears clapping again. And if she follows that voice, it's coming from the basement. And before she closes the door closes automatically. And she rolls tumbling to the basement. She was taking care of herself, Someone throws a soccer ball in front of her. She saw this and was afraid. And then all the lights in the basement automatically turn off. And the child's laughter is also heard. Carolyn was terrified when she say this. And when she lights the match, no one is there. Suddenly 2 pairs of hands clap behind Carolyn. While her older daughter Andrea is sleeping in her room, she hears a knock that wakes her up. And when she hears this, Cindy once again falls out of the cupboard. She fetches Cindy from there and puts her to sleep. And then someone forcibly binds to the cupboard. Andrea hears her voice and goes to check, and when she checks there is no one there. And Cindy wakes up and looks at the cupboard, and as Andrea looks at the cupboard, the ghost attacks her, and when her father hears this, ran to Andrea's room frantically. And Andrea is on the floor and they all come over. Roger says, somebody tell me what's going on here, and now they're coming. The Warrens, who have a daughter of their own, are also struggling to deal with the realities of their work and the toll that Lorraine's clairvoyance is bound to have on her, especially after their last case, which had left her extremely traumatized, having seen something that she refused to share with Edward. We see that the Warrens are investigating a house of another couple that had sought their help, and it's here that they debunk their suspicion that it was haunted by explaining through reason what was accounting for the noises the couple had been hearing. During one of their lectures, the Warrens explained that there were 3 stages of demonic activity, which were infestation, oppression, and possession. Infestation was essentially the preliminary stage filled with whispers, footsteps, and the feeling of another presence, which led into oppression as the external force broke down the most emotionally vulnerable before crushing their will and gaining dominion over the victims through the form of possession. And it's important to note that the Perrin family were currently in the 2nd stage, with a dark spirit attempting to break down each of the family members to facilitate its desired possession. The witness tells that this house was built in 1863, and the one who built this house, that man married a woman named Batseba, and that woman sacrificed her own son and committed suicide by hanging herself. When she did this, the time was 3:07, and this is the reason why all the clocks in the house stop automatically at 3:07. And stops at her home at 7 minutes. She also tells him that many people have committed suicide in that house. One of them was a boy named Rory, and one more boy who jumped into the pond and killed himself, and there was a maid who committed suicide. There are not one but many souls there. And then the tape which was brought with the ad plays by itself, and a demon's voice comes in that tape. After that, she takes an inspector and a man with her and reaches Roger's house again. And this time they put a camera in the house as well as a microphone so that they can record all the activities that happen in the house and show that evidence to the church so that the church people can help them. And then the door to the Taekwondo room opens automatically, and when those people enter the Taekwondo room to check, no one is there. And when Lauren dries her clothes in the morning, suddenly the wind picks up. Black clouds cover the sky. The cloth flies and sticks to the window of the house. When Lauren sees it, she sees a shadow. And this shadow crosses the room. Before Lauren reaches the room, the shadow puts something in Caroline's mouth. She starts vomiting. When Lauren reaches her, she tells him she's not okay. "I'm a bit nauseous, too," and the door closes. So Roger and Ed ran for the door. You want to open the door, but the door is locked. Actually, there are microphones in this room. And what happens in this room, he hears together. She tells Lauren that there is someone else in that room besides Cindy. And when Lauren hears this, she hears a girl's voice over there telling Cindy to follow her. "I hid here." And here, Roger and Ed somehow open the door. And when they get inside, Cindy doesn't see them anywhere. When she checks there, she finds a hanged man, and the floor of the storeroom breaks, which is made of wood, and she falls straight into the side. There she finds a woman's body, and he tells Lauren that he made me do this, and now Lauren understands. Here the body that wants to attack them attacks Lauren. Lauren survives in this, but the locket of her daughter in her neck, that locket gets caught in the hands of the body. Here Lauren comes up and tells everyone that the shadow is taking over the mother, and after that the mother kills her own child because the shadow does this, and the mark on Caroline's body is not of any disease, but she is slowly taking over her body. And after that the shadow starts pulling the second daughter, Nancy's hair, which does not cause any harm, and they somehow save Nancy. And when Lauren is in the car going home, then she hears the voice of her daughter Judy from the lake, and when she goes there, there is Judy's body in the water, which makes Lauren scared. And she calls her home and finds out so everything is fine there. She tells Wyatt that she saw Judy's body in the water, and this is a warning for us too. After this they go to church. They meet Father Gordon to save Christine, but April is not there. They also try to get Caroline out of that house. But the shadow that was overpowering Caroline completely takes control of her. And she gets sick. Lauren says the shadow will kill her if we get her out of the house. So we have to keep him in this house. And then the shadow takes Caroline to a taekwondo studio. And when they enter the studio, they are attacked by Caroline. That, and when it takes this name, it appears in its original form, which is very scary. Ed says, I command you to go to hell by the power of Jesus. Lauren encourages Caroline. Lauren tells Caroline to remember what you showed me. When Lauren got home, she actually saw a picture of everyone with their family. And Caroline told Lauren that this moment was the best moment for me, when we were all happy and I loved my girls. When Caroline hears them now, she won't let the white swan rule over her. And he begins to fight with himself. After that, he has to leave her, even if he doesn't want to. Because no matter how powerful the dark forces are, they can never defeat love. So Caroline defeats this shadow and returns to normal. Later, Caroline meets her children and apologizes to them, and they are very happy about it. Ed and Lauren arrive at their house. Ed keeps the toy he found near the tree in his museum where there were already many such ghostly things. This is where the story ends, which is a true story, so I hope you enjoy this video.
Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more.